All right, this is a video for Algebra 1 Summer School, Unit 2, Lesson 1, Calculating Slope. There's a link on your Canvas page to a quick little video called Slope Dude. It's going to talk about 4 different kinds of slopes. It's a really quick watch. Go ahead and go back to Canvas and watch this now. All right, hopefully if you just watched the quick little video about Slope Dude, Slope Dude very enthusiastically tells us a couple things that we need to know about slope. Slope measures the steepness of a line. Okay. All right, and in order to measure that steepness, we need to read the graph from left to right. Just like we read books and read words, we start on the left and we move to the right. This will help us determine what kind of slope we have, positive, negative, and then how to count in order to find the numerical value of the slope. All right, there are 4 kinds of slope that Slope Dude introduced us to. We're going to name them below, and then we're going to draw some pictures. So the first one is a positive slope. A positive slope goes up from left to right. So it's a slope that when I read it, looks like it is increasing. The next kind of slope we could have is called a negative slope. All right, a negative slope goes down from left to right. Then we have 2 slopes that get tricky and people can get confused once in a while. The first is called a zero slope. Now, zero slopes are horizontal lines. They are lines that are flat across from left to right. The other one is called undefined. It's what Slope Dude called the curse word of all mathematics. Undefined. Undefined slopes occur for vertical lines, up and down. Right? They don't go left to right, they just go up and down. Another phrase that we use to describe slope is called a rate of change. A lot of times, especially when we get to word problems, they're going to ask you for the rate of change. That's just asking you for the slope of something. Now today we're going to look at slope from graphs and from 2 different points. When I look at a graph, the slope, we talk about it as rise over run. So rise is your up and your down. Your run is left and right. So we always want to go up and down first, then go left and right. So what we have to do here in example 1, it says find the slope of the following lines. State your answer in simplest fraction form. That means we need to simplify all fractions. Now all these lines here have points darkened in on them. So when I look at this first slope, I'm going to start with the point on the left, and I need to do the rise. The rise is up and down. It looks like I'm ending up going down 2, so that's my rise, -2, and I'm running over, we always go to the right, +2. So down 2 over 2, which simplifies to be -1. I can double check my work in a way because I have a negative sign here, and because my line is going down from left to right, I know that that's correct. The second graph, I'm going to start on this point. Again, my slope is going to be negative because it's going down from left to right. And I need to get to this point here. So I end up going down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So down 5 over 1, 2, 3, 4. Down 5 over 4, that fraction does not simplify, so that's the most simple form I can have. All right, now, here's the thing. This is a horizontal line. So if I look at that horizontal line, I could recognize that the slope is going to be 0 because I should start to remember that slopes of horizontal lines are 0. But I can also think of it in terms of rise over run. If I start at this point here, I'm not rising up or down anything to get over. So the rise is 0, and I'm running over 1. But 0 divided by any number equals 0, which is why you have a slope of 0. For this vertical up and down line, that slope we talked about with Slope Dude is undefined. Now, using rise over run to get to that value, say I picked 2 lines on this graph. I could rise up 3 here, but I'm not going left or right, so I'd be running over 0. But any number divided by 0 is called undefined in mathematics. That's where that comes from in terms of rise over run. Okay. So now that we talked about rise over run, we need to remember that there are many different ways to talk about slope. First, we can say rate of change is the same thing as slope. All right, and then we went to graph, and we said the slope is rise over run. All right, those are 3 words we've already talked about today. The last one is our formula, the change in y, so y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. This is the formula we use when we are given 2 points and asked to find the slope. Okay? The hardest part of this formula, it says, is making sure we use the right numbers in the right spot. Okay? So what we're going to be doing here is that it's kind of like this general steps to follow. We can label each coordinate as x1, y1, and x2, y2. That's just a way if you need to help stay organized. So here, if I'm trying to find the slope between -2, 6 and 3, -5, I'm going to label this -2 as x1 because x is the first coordinate, y is the second coordinate. So those are both 1. It's an ordered pair 1. And x2, y2. That helps us stay organized in case we need to remember what things go where in the formula. Step 2, put each x and y in the right spot. Well, m equals, I'll start with y2. If I look up at this formula, y2, which is -5, minus y1, 6, over x2, which is 3, minus -2. You need to be really careful with your negatives. Well, it turns out -5 minus 6 is -11, over 3 minus -2 is +5. Now, here's a way I can check my work if I wanted to. Since that fraction doesn't simplify, I'm going to go to my graph. I'm going to plot both points, -2, 6, and 3, -5. All right, I'm going to count the rise over run between those 2 points and see if I get a -11 over 5. So I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That works over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It works out. That line that connects those dots has a slope of -11 over 5. Okay. All right, let's do 1 more to practice, and then we'll let you do some work on your own. Let's find the slope between the points 0, -6, and 9, -3. So first, again, I'm going to label each point x1, y1, and x2, y2. When I put those values into the slope formula, I have to do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Well, y2 looks like -3 minus y1, -6, all over 9 minus 0. Well, let me get -3 minus -6. That simplifies to be +3 over 9, which is 1/3. 1/3 is the simplified form of 3/9. I can check this again by plotting and verify my work. 0, -6 gets a point, and 9, -3. If I want to find the slope of the line that passes through those 2 points, I'm going to check and see if it's the slope 1/3. So I'll go up 1, 2, 3 over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So up 3 over 9, which, yes, is 1 over 3. All right, that should be a fairly easy review for you of what slope is. Go ahead back to Canvas and find the practice for calculating slope from a line and from 2 points, and then we'll move on to more graphing lines.